The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Welcome, everybody, to Wrestling to the Max's 205 Live review for March 28th, 2017. And we are brought to you by W2Mnet.com. And also, if you want to go find more of our great reviews, go check out Wrestling to the Max. It's a great channel to go get all of our content, whether it be on iTunes or Stitcher or any other thing you use in podcasting on. But yeah, I am your host, Gary Vaughn. Along with me is Mr. Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
And boy, we are on that week to WrestleMania. And of course, that means we got to talk some cruiserweight action because they will be a part of that WrestleMania action. Even though it's not on the main part of the show, they're still going to have their big match, and we're looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and jump into this show, though. They've got lots of interesting things going on.
Well, we're going to get into that later because I'm still livid about that announcement. But we'll get through the matches here first. First up, Rich Swann takes on Ariya Daivari. They go about 8 minutes. Rich Swann gets the much expected and I think the much needed win here as he's still trying to battle back and get the crowd back in his favor post injury. And he ends up getting the win with a Phoenix Splash, which is just an absolute thing of beauty. And the crowd didn't give one iota here, but Swann comes out of this looking pretty good, I think.
Yeah, and, Rich Swann is a guy that I think, usually has the crowd behind him. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of funny coming out of this whole injury for him. It has not been as exciting as I thought people were behind him. I don't know, it's weird to say that, but, it's kind of felt like he kind of lost a little something. And the guy is so talented. He's got a lot to offer. In this match alone, he showcases quite a bit of it, so I'm a little bit surprised on that, but outside of that, I think it's a good, match, and I really think they put on a decent showing here. So I'm not disappointed at all. I will say though, I'm a little surprised that Rich Swann is not getting more cheers.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, they've stuck him in this thing with Noam Dar and Alicia Fox, who Alicia Fox gets interviewed and says that Noam Dar wanted to compete, but he's not medically cleared, and that's when Rich Swann shows up. And he told Fox that he wants Alicia to tell Noam Dar that he hopes that he gets better. And Fox has this thing of perfume delivered to her, and Swann says somebody must really care about you. So Fox sprays herself. Might as well have just taken a bath in it. She just sprays it like everywhere, like 10 million times. Not exactly the most entertaining thing. I like the Noam Dar Alicia Fox pairing, and Alicia gives them something to do, but people have not cared one little lick about any of this.
No, they haven't, and I'm a little bit taken aback by that. And sure, okay, so Noam Dar is not supposed to be one of the guys in the forefront right now. Mm-hmm. I get that. I totally understand his position on 205 Live. Totally get it. But on the other hand, I think he's offering you something that's entertaining, and whether he loses all the time or even if he won all the time, I think what's really cool here is the fact that he's got a character, which not all the cruiserweights have. Let's be honest, not all the cruiserweights we see have a built character, and his is probably more built than some of the other ones that we've seen. Mm-hmm. Especially adding Alicia Fox to him, that's another big plus for him because he's a little bit of a weird goofball in a way. Mm-hmm. He's kind of nerdy, kind of a big talker. And she is kind of a very eccentric person, and she's doing all these things like you just said, taking a bath in perfume, eating flowers, doing all these weird things. She's psychotic. She's insane. And only a guy like Noam Dar can be proud of her. So, and not only that, you got all these gifts being sent to her. So, Paul, out of all this, no one really cares, but I'm still like, why don't you care? I think this is kind of interesting. I want to know who's sending this stuff, Mm-hmm. So, I get it, though. It's not the best thing you can say or see, but I think it's entertaining compared to some of the other stuff.
I agree with you. Like, continuously, I'm always at least very entertained and to some degree by the Alicia Fox, Noam Dar antics, and whoever's involved with that. So they do at least have that going for them. I think by the time you get done with SmackDown, just that crowd is either just worn out or they're so disinterested because none of these people have any big names yet, and just are not willing to give them a chance no matter where you take them across the country.
Yeah, and it's a big problem, but I keep going back to the fact that the cruiserweight division is still young. Mm-hmm. They're building guys like Noam Dar, but they've got to continue to build them, and it's going to take a minute. It's going to take a little while for crowds to get behind them because they've got to know who they are. And once they get more exposure, I think they could, but that's yet to be seen. Guys like Rich Swann can be so talented and not really get a lot, and that's kind of sad. But that is what it is.
Very true. Very true. Drew Gulak runs into Mustafa Ali backstage. He praises his ability, his high-risk style, and all these things. And he feels like he fits right in, and the crowd loves him, and all these great things. But Gulak doesn't want him to take any unnecessary risks, and he keeps talking more about how he wants to sort of change 205 Live, and it starts with the fans and everything. But Ali just sort of brushes him off and walks away. And then he goes out and has a quick 3.5 minute match with Brandon Scott, who he pretty much gets to showcase all of his flashy moves, which is great because that imploding 450 is awesome. I really love the little diving reverse neck breaker thing that he does. I think Mustafa Ali is a wonderful talent in short. He's a great wrestler. I don't know if his mic work is there yet, but as far as bringing the goods in the ring, definitely somebody who should be in the division.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this guy, it's almost like he came out of nowhere, right? Mm-hmm. And we've seen him before, but man, he's just so impressive. And I think Mustafa Ali is a guy that definitely is catching on fire. And I think that if he continues this, I think you will get crowds behind him and they'll start to wonder who he is and really kind of maybe even grow his fan base to an extent that, maybe he is going to be the next cruiserweight champion or do other great things. And so I love this. I love the fact that we get to see this guy showcase his ability. Sometimes they don't allow these guys to do some of these big flashy moves, but he's getting an opportunity to do that. And by doing that, I think that's getting people's eyes and their attention on him. And of course, just the division in general. So I was completely thrilled. I like Gulak. I think he does a good job. I like a lot of these other guys, but when guys like Mustafa Ali get in the ring and perform like this, I mean, it's just definitely a plus.
Right. And I've talked a lot about this on here with Sean, at least, in that they purposefully at times feel like they don't let the cruiserweights go out there and be as flashy as they can be. And I understand these guys are on the road a lot. They're going to be wrestling a lot of matches. If you do all of that, you're going to get hurt a lot quicker. And it's going to mess up your momentum and everything. But the crowds are expecting that style. That's what they're ingrained to at least want to see. And I understand what they're trying to do in that the Cruiserweight Championship originally, at least as far as the concept came out of the CWC, was that it was supposed to be about lighter guys doing these spectacular things, but they could ground wrestle. They could do all these different things that you don't necessarily see a lot of guys in WWE do, even though I think the definition of a heavyweight has sort of blended in with what cruiserweights used to do at the time, because now you have all these big athletic guys, and it's just almost unfair with how much they can do.
Oh, I know. And, to see that being the case, I mean, it really, has, I think, a big alarm for, some of these small guys, because they say, man, we're really depending on the fact that we're more athletic, that we have more, ability when it comes to flippies and doing all these magical moves. And then when big guys can do it too, it's just like, oh, well, what do I have now?
Right.
But saying all that, for all the reasons you just pointed out, because of injuries, the WWE does not allow those big guys, and Vince doesn't like it anyway. He doesn't like the big guys to do all that, because Brock Lesnar can do flips. Even Goldberg can do some crazy things that really we don't see all the time because they don't want to show that. But saying that, in the cruiserweight division, especially the show 205 Live, you got so many different talents. Your show's only an hour long. They really, honestly, can give guys a week off on 205 Live, and maybe even a week off from Raw too. So I mean, I don't think it could harm them to be able to do these tie matches because they're not going to do this on a big, huge basis. Maybe on house shows. But on a regular basis on TV, you really don't have to force them to do all those extreme moves just every week in and week out. So,
right.
But we'll see. I mean, I think they're going to continue on this path of we'll kind of let them do what they're doing. But in the end, though, I think the cruiserweight division is still young, and until we get a year down the line, 2 years down from here, I really don't know if we understand what this cruiserweight division is going to be.
Right. Yeah, and I think the writers on the main stage are still trying to figure out what this is supposed to be. So.
Yeah, you're right.
The main event for the evening, Akira Tozawa takes on the Brian Kendrick. They go 10 minutes. I thought this was a pretty solid match. They battle back and forth. Tozawa gets a lot. He ends up running into an exposed turnbuckle that Kendrick exposed after taking or missing a sliced bread. Taking something like that. There's sliced bread involved. Tozawa gets out of it, I think, and then Kendrick pulls out the buckle pad and then runs Tozawa into it, and that's how he gets the win. So the feud must continue because Brian Kendrick is probably not done teaching Tozawa everything he knows. But I think Tozawa really needs a big win. Because people are behind him to a degree, but if he keeps losing like this, I think you're going to have people turn on him. Well, not turn on him, but just simply not care anymore about him,
Yeah, because there's only so many times you can have a guy lose and, be the underdog. I mean, to an extent, yeah, he kind of is the underdog, but on the other hand, the guy is so talented and people have seen what he can do. They know that he can beat Brian Kendrick, so I think they kind of have to, be a little bit more decisive and maybe give this guy, more victories and allow him to showcase his talent on a more regular basis for the chance for him to keep moving forward, considering the fact that, things like this could move him backwards. And I hope not. I mean, because I love Tozawa. I think that he's doing a great job. And I get it. You need Brian Kendrick to win. Just because, you need sometimes for him to look like, oh man, he's just doing these dastardly deeds to win. But on the other hand, Tozawa, you can't cut him short just to help somebody else.
Right. So let's talk about the big thing on this show, and that's obviously Neville and Aries' big interaction. Neville opens the show. He's still upset about what happened on Raw, and tonight, instead of Aries and the New Day having the last laugh, it's going to be him who's going to be laughing. So at the end of the show, we cut to Neville coming out to the ring, hypes up, how far away we are for WrestleMania. He's at a crossroads, though. He's looking back at how he got here. He didn't have it easy. He went through all these things. He's been disrespected and overlooked, and then he got hurt last year, just short of WrestleMania. He broke his ankle and all those things. And he has since come back from that, and he's turned into what we have now. And obviously, he's the king of the cruiserweights. Without him, he thinks 205 Live is nothing. All these other things. Finally, Aries comes out, and he gives Neville credit where credit is due. He has made 205 Live into something. I don't want to say that he makes it worth watching, but he has made 205 Live something, right? And it's better with him here. And Neville's a good champion and a great competitor and all these other things, but he's not a double, right? He's not the greatest man that ever lived. They both have these great egos, and no matter, this is where he kind of jabs out, no matter where they are on the card, in their minds, he knows that they're the main attraction. He knows that they're there. The crowd is there to see them, to see this match, and all these other things. And eventually Aries comes down to it and just says, you know who you are, I know who I am, and I know that I can beat you this Sunday and take the championship. That sets Neville's off. We have a big brawl. Neville comes out with the better of it. About to leave, he comes back and looks like he's going to start attacking him again, but Aries catches him with the last chancery. and Neville manages to escape before he can really lock it in. But I'm excited for this match, and I really wanted to see it on the main card because I felt like at least it would still look like WWE is supporting the division and that they think it has enough legs. And it's going to be a great match, and it's going to stand on its own, and it'll be a great addition to the main card. Moving it to the pre-show feels like the opposite direction, right? You don't care about it. You don't feel like it's really worthwhile to add to the main show. I understand there are a lot of people on this show with a lot of spots that need to be filled and this, that, and the other, but for a division that really needs the boost, and for a match in a division that really benefits from the type of card that WrestleMania, or type of crowd that WrestleMania draws now, I feel like you're doing them almost a disservice at this point, like you want them to fail.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling the casual audience that, hey, if you don't watch 205 Live or anything else involving the cruiserweights, don't worry.
Right.
You don't have to watch them at all. And that's not good. That's not what you want. You want to give them a match that they're going to want to be like, oh my God, this is the cruiserweights? I mean, I was just watching this to get to the, John Cena match, but you know what? Maybe I should watch 205 Live. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I know maybe I'm taking it too far, I don't know, but I think that it is a big disservice to not only the cruiserweights, but this is a huge disservice to Neville and Austin Aries. I mean, these guys are quality talent. These guys are world travelers. These guys are veterans in this industry. What a waste. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't like Baron Corbin or Dean Ambrose, but that's the title I'd rather see on the pre-show. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know if Vince doesn't feel that way or if he does, but at least I know I do. I think the cruiserweights are going to be, fine. I think, eventually, things will be better for them. I'm just really disappointed. I really, really am. I think this is not helping WWE. This isn't helping the cruiserweights, and it's not helping the fan base to get to know these cruiserweights better.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, and especially for Neville, who has really come back from this injury, he's created this new character, and has just been absolutely on fire the entire time he's been here. And Aries, to his credit, who I think has worked his ass off coming back from this injury, doing the commentary shtick where he's sort of selling the cruiserweights every chance he can get, him doing the interviews since he came back, all these other things that they've really done to try to make people want to see this match. And you put him on the pre-show. Now, if your idea here is you're trying to make people want to watch the pre-show with this, then maybe that's what you're going for. But for me, I feel like maybe doing the tag title ladder match on the pre-show would probably put some butts in the seats quicker if you wanted to watch the pre-show. I mean, and that's been way less built. And I understand you probably want Enzo and Cass to have the full crowd with them whenever they're doing the soft thing and all that great stuff, right? But this has been better built than I think the tag title match has been. This has been better built than a couple other matches that are on the main card has been. And you're saying it's not good enough to be on there? Like, that's just... It gnaws at me, Gary. Like, I'm going to go to sleep at night, and this is going to be, like, the cruiserweight matches in the pre-show, Paul, and I'm going to just, like, not be able to fall asleep.
You're going to be sitting there like, I really need to sleep, but I just keep thinking, no one's going to see this match.
Right, exactly.
No. You're going to have a nightmare that you're in Orlando and you're excited about seeing this match, and then you're on the outside. They're not letting you in. Oh, we got to wait till the show starts. But the show did start. No. I can hear him. I can hear Neville in there. Nope. No, I mean, it really is. It's a huge shame. And I know that a lot of casual fans probably don't even think twice about this. I think it's us. It's everybody listening to this show right now. Because if you're listening to 205 Live and you us review it, that means either you just like listening to us talk or you're actually a viewer of the show. I think it's more of the second one. But saying that, I mean, I'm not saying I'm terrible. I'm just saying that's honestly the truth. But to me, once again, this goes back to, I think what's going to happen, not previewing what's going to take place, but of course we're going to do that on episode 240 part 2 this week. Go check that out. You'll get our WrestleMania preview and all of that. We'll do all of our decisions and picks. But I think overall I'm looking forward to this because I think this match is going to do very well I think these guys are going to want to prove a point. I think they're going to want to be the guys that put 205 Live, to put the Cruiserweight division on the map for at least those officials in the office to pay attention and to say, oh my God, they did that. Why was I not on the main show? Mm-hmm. I think that's their goal. I think they're going to achieve it, and hopefully from now on we can look to brighter days. But until that happens, me and you are going to have to be bummed about this, Paul. We're just going to have to sit and take it.
Yeah, I'm just not going to be able to sleep until next Sunday is what it sounds like. So I'll be sure to check in with my insomnia levels with you guys throughout the week, and that's 205 for us, Gary.
That is, and of course, like we were talking about earlier, if you want to go find out more from this WrestleMania week, you need to go subscribe to the W2M Network if you haven't already. Rate and review as well. Also, don't forget to go check out W2Mnet.com. We'll be talking a lot about WrestleMania this week, and of course, you should see a roundtable there. We'll be talking, of course, NXT TakeOver Orlando as well. That'll be also a show we'll be reviewing. So there's lots of great content for you to go check out. Please go do it. Don't miss a minute of the action. We're super stoked about this. This is one of the funnest weeks for all of us on W2M, and I know you guys are enjoying it too. So make sure you have a fun weekend doing that. And of course, we will catch you next week for 205 Live, the next review show we have for us. So thanks for everybody for listening, and we will see you down the line.
Have a good one, guys.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.